Hey y'all, good evening. Welcome to my channel. This is Adina. If you don't know me, nice to meet you. Thank you for clicking on this quick little video I decided to do in respect of the new moon in Cancer, which begins tonight. And I say begins because I don't believe that it reaches 0 degrees until, sorry y'all know I'll be out here killing bugs. I don't think it reaches a full 0 degrees until tomorrow. It may be like 1 degree right now. However, it's still considered a new moon. And so for the rest of the weekend, I don't know how strongly everyone collectively feels this new moon. However, collectively, a new moon in Cancer is a healing moon. New moons are all about releasing in the first place. They're all about releasing things that no longer serve our highest good. But a new moon in Cancer is a little bit deeper, as I believe all of the water signs water sign moons are a little bit deeper just because water signs deal with emotions and spirit and things like that. So last Sunday, I did a video called Message to My Subscribers or Dear Subscribers. It's a new series that I'm doing, and I will be doing one this weekend as well. But tonight I just wanted to do a little chit chat, a little story time about my own personal experience this new moon. So I don't always practice anything, have any routine or ritual for the moons. I usually do them as I feel necessary. So I don't always feel the need to draw down on the energy of the moon every, full or new moon cycle. And it's actually been a while since I felt the need to. It's been about 2 years. And this new moon I've been feeling maybe since July started last week, or earlier this week, last weekend-ish. I think the moon getting ready to move into Cancer, and having to do with healing and certain areas in my own natal chart that the new moon will be taking place in. Like, I've really been focused consciously and subconsciously on different things that I guess my being is ready to shed. Like, it's not even really been a conscious effort to do anything. I'm sorry, y'all, I keep checking my chi-chis because the other night when I did video, I got bit right smack dab in the middle of my Twin Peaks. And once you get bit once, like, you just start itching all over your body. You think you gotten bit everywhere. So y'all, I'm on the lookout for mosquitoes. Bear with me. And I see that sucker. No, it's not a mosquito. It's just a little regular bug. Anyways, like I was saying, I have been not even really consciously trying to put forth a lot of effort into utilizing this new moon and like thinking about things I need to let go consciously. It's really been my being, my body, my soul telling me, okay, we're ready to let certain things go. And this new moon, if you're a Libra sun, moon ascendant, this will be taking place in your 10th house. I'm a Libra sun, so it's taking place in my 10th house. If you're a Virgo, it's taking place in your 11th house. If you're a Leo, it's taking place in your 12th house. If you're a Cancer, it's taking place in your first house, and so forth and so on. It's taking place in my 10th house. Excuse me, y'all, I'm sipping wine tonight and not tea. um, so, as I said, it's taking place in my 10th house of reputation and um, career purpose. And I did my last Healing Waters video on roots, and it dealt with the 4th house and the 10th house. And the 10th house being your roots, and the 4th house being your roots, and the 10th house being the fruit of your roots, like your obituary, what you are remembered for. Like I said, your reputation, it could be your career. Um, and I've really been feeling the new moon in my 10th house. It also deals with your parents, traditionally your father. Um, I got a text from my father today, who I don't talk to daily. I talk to sporadically. We have an okay relationship. However, I got a text message from my father today, which would be a new moon in the 10th house and in Cancer, because Cancer deals with what rules your 4th house traditionally, and which I said is your roots. So that would mean your family, your parents, and things like that. So a new moon in my 10th house in Cancer would have definitely resulted in some kind of emotional or healing um, situation with a parent. Like I said, I received a text message from my father today, and it was really nice. He was just telling me that he loved me and things like that. So that's both 10th house and Cancer. Um, and I guess it was new too because, like I said, we don't talk to each other every day. We don't talk to each other weekly even. So for him to just pop up with that message, it was very, very much new moon in Cancer and my 10th house energy. Um, Starting a new position with the company is also new energy in my 10th house because it deals with my career. And it's a family owned company. So that's also new moon in my 10th house in Cancer. Um, and those are just some of the surface level or physical level aspects of it. So on a deeper level, because as I said, we're talking about Cancer here, and Cancer is your root, so it's very deep. On a deeper level, and I kind of mentioned this last week, and I guess I've still been struggling with it. So if you watch my video, Dear Subscriber, which was supposed to be a message to my subscribers, a reading that I did for my subscribers, and it ended up dealing with the new moon actually. But I mentioned that it was a message for me too, and it really was. A few people reached out and told me that it resonated with them too, and I thank God for that because it was supposed to be a reading, a message for my subscribers, and it ended up talking about things that we should be releasing during the new moon. And I say we because the message was for me too. And it definitely was because I kind of been struggling with it all week. Um, I spoke on how I was doubting myself and the services that I give to you guys and to other people who patronize me for various services. I'm a licensed herbalist, and I like to consider myself a born healer. I was born this way. I come from a long line of um, people and relatives and ancestors that dealt in various spiritual or religious or healing services, from nurses to pastors to prophetesses to gifts that are untapped and that run throughout my family. So I come from a line of people in some kind of service, especially spiritual or religious services, and quite a few health service workers as well, which aligns with myself because, as I said, I'm a natural herbalist. I'm gonna have a Pack 6 house that deals with service and health. So I consider myself very much a healer. My healing type is just a more spiritual and holistic healing versus some of my relatives who are nurses and things like that. So I was saying that how last week I was dealing with letting go of doubt of my gifts and abilities and how I use them and things like that. I was saying, that I was even thinking about, giving up some of my endeavors. Last night it came to a head because I almost deleted this entire YouTube. Um, and not accidentally. Um, I was really, really, really in a very low vibrational place last night. And I was just thinking, like, you know what? What if I'm tripping? What if I'm tripping and I just need to, focus on this and this and this and all of these practical matters, um, dealing with my sixth house, which is also not just health, but work, like day to day, 9 to 5 work. It deals with daily routines and schedules and very small details because the sixth house is traditionally ruled by Virgo and mine is. And I have Mars there and Venus there and my sun there and my south node there. And I've spoken about south nodes and north nodes as well in previous videos. However, my south node deals with me being extremely critical of myself, and I have Mars in the 29th degree. So there are very, very positive um, aspects to having Mars in the 29th degree because it's a critical degree, and it's a degree of mastery as well. However, if you master something, then you can easily tend to be very critical of it because you know it so well. I'm very critical of myself, um, obsessively critical of myself. And I realized that the negative aspect of Mars and in the 29th degree of Virgo in my sixth house is that I can be so critical about the practical things that I do, to the point where I don't take leaps of faith, which is why my North Node is in Aries in my 12th house. And the 12th house, as I mentioned, deals with spirituality, letting go, self sabotage, and a slew of other things, other dimensions, and things like that. So, spiritually and faith wise, I become so critical of myself and making sure that what I'm doing is perfect. This has to be in line, this has to be in line, and this has to be practical in order for me to ever consider taking a leap of faith. And as we know, dealing with life, you never really have everything perfectly lined up and in order before, you get the green light, so to speak, or before you give yourself the green light to take a leap of faith into something that you've been working on or wanting to do. And most people, they just say, fuck it, I'm going, I got this and I got this, and that's all I really need for right now, and I'm going to figure it out later. Those type of people I admire. And those are the type of people that my North Node in the 12th house of Aries is trying to teach me to be like, because, excuse me, as I said, I will become so critical of myself and I will begin to doubt myself because if you criticize yourself enough, doubts will set in, insecurities, and all of that nasty stuff that keeps one from fulfilling their goals and their dreams. And that's why my South Node is in my sixth house as well, because it's like you have to let go of being so practical and so critical of the work you do instead of just trusting in the resources that you have, including your gifts and abilities and talents. Because my South Node is in Libra, meaning I have Venusian talents and gifts and abilities to achieve things and stuff. I can be so critical of myself and doubting myself that I actually don't have what it takes to do what I want to do. It's almost like, okay, well, I don't have enough of this, so I need to work at this a little bit more, or I don't have this, so I need to get or acquire this and then work at this, and then maybe then I'll be, at the point where I can consider doing this, this, and this. So then finally one day when I'm ready and you can miss your purpose like that. I can miss my purpose. I can miss everything that I'm supposed to do in this life that I know I'm supposed to do. I can miss it if I don't stop being so critical of myself and creating doubts for myself. And so that's where I was yesterday and last night, where I was rewatching some of my videos and I was just like, listening to some of the things that I pick up in my readings. And I'm just like, if you're a reader or if you're spiritually inclined like me, then this is a moment for us to get real with ourselves. So this has been a lifelong struggle for me, um, being more assertive with my spiritual gifts because I've always had them. I've always known I've had them. Others have always known that I've had them. You know, nobody knew what to call me or what to make of me. They just knew I was different. And usually that's the thing that draws people to me. However, it's so ironic because it's something that I thought I always did a good job at hiding so that I blend in because I'm so critical of myself. And some of the times in my early childhood where I was really criticized or mocked and things like that, a lot of people let that roll off, but me, I take that criticism and, it's more than constructive. And it's not because I receive criticism, it's because I make it destructive. And so I might have jokingly got criticized in the past, and the person might not have thought much about something they said, but to me, it might have stuck with me. And then I would have mulled over it and mulled over it until I created an obstacle for myself because of it. When really I should have just trusted in myself and said, you know what, everybody's going to have their opinions or whatever, and you're not going to be everybody's cup of tea. However, that doesn't take anything away from your gifts and abilities and your talents. To me, I make it take it away from, to me, it's just failure. And that's probably the only thing that I fear in my life is failure of not fulfilling my purposes. But even that fear is probably going to manifest itself in more obstacles for me until I continue to not do it because I allowed that fear to become such an obstacle for me, such a monster, such a mountain that I thought I couldn't get over when I created it myself, and I can uncreate it myself just as easily. So I was going over my videos and I was just like, how do I pick up on this shit? Because when I'm doing my readings or when I am in a different state, of mind, a different state of being that allows me to channel spirit when I'm in my mode. I don't know what the fuck, consciously I'm pulling out of those cards. Like I know what I'm saying, I know what I'm reading, but it's it's like your ego takes a back seat to your higher self, and then your ego is only partially aware of what's going on because your higher self is running the show, and you really don't want your ego to kick in because that's when you start messing up the message from spirit and inserting yourself. So for me, like I read back, I watch my videos back and I just be like, damn. But for some reason last night, I was extremely critical of myself. And I was just like, what the fuck? You know, is any of this shit, is this, any of this gonna matter to anybody? Like, is anything good gonna come of this? And like, I was like, some of the things I was just like, what the fucking, where, how did I, pick up on this stuff? Because like, it's not crazy to me. Um, some of the things that I say and pick up on, like sex trafficking and things like that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I consider myself very logical, which is why I always say I stand by what I said. Um, because if I see it and I know that I'm letting spirit guide me, then it is what it is. Rather it is what it is. Um, and that's me learning to trust my gift more. However, sometimes I still struggle and last night was one of those nights, and I'm supposing I was that critical of myself last night because the new moon was coming in tonight, and I needed to be aware of what I needed to release. And so I was allowed to experience this heavy doubt and this heavy insecurity and this heavy self criticism as I'm consciously making myself aware of what I want to release or what I need to release during the new moon. And it happened like that so that I can be like, okay, this is what I need to release. Because it's happening right here, right now, during a Cancer full moon in my 10th house, which means my reputation, my career reputation, and the work that I do, the services that I give. And this is the work that I do. This is the service that I give to the world. This is me trying to live out my purpose. This YouTube channel is a manifestation of that. Because I was doing it prior, but I currently have Pluto in my 10th house, transiting my 10th house as well, which is why this new moon in Cancer in my 10th house was weighing on me and my subconscious so heavy. For one, it's dealing with Pluto and Cancer, transformation and healing in my 10th house of reputation and career. And a lot of the things that I've been doing recently on my YouTube channel that I've had for 2 years is very new. I actually started it when Pluto moved into my 10th house. Um, and I didn't even really acknowledge that until today when I was, looking into my natal chart and going over some of the transits that I recently went through and some of the transits that I'll be going through in the near future. And I was just like, oh, okay. I started this, when Pluto was entering my 10th house, a complete transformation because before, I was, getting into releasing my music and things like that. But even that didn't start until 2018-ish. So all of this is new that I've been doing, and it's in regards to serious transformations that I've been going through. I finished my Saturn return, and then boom, Pluto entered my 10th house. And my Saturn return, that's ruled by Saturn rules my 10th house. So I've been dealing with 10th house matters since 2016 when my Saturn return started. And then after that finished, having Pluto move into my 10th house and completely shut shit down. It's been a lot, and I've been dealing with my greater purpose, where my North Node and my 10th house combine. And this is actually a result of my Saturn return and my Pluto moving into my 10th house, this whole YouTube channel, and all of the videos that I've been doing as of lately. And these videos that I have been doing come with a lot of sacrifice on my part, whether it seems like it or not, whether anybody's aware of it or not, it does. Just like anything great that we do, or any great purpose that we serve or we're meant to serve, it never comes easy, and it always, comes with a contract at the beginning, and it's just like, are you willing to sacrifice for the reward? I've said before, and I'll say again, everything requires sacrifice, and the greater the desire, the greater the request, the greater the goal, the greater the blessing, or whatever you want to call it, the greater the sacrifice is going to be. Everything requires sacrifice. Um, so even these videos that I do come or came with a sacrifice, and it required relationships to be sacrificed. It required parts of my lifestyle having to be sacrificed, and it required um, old thoughts and beliefs and habits of mine to be sacrificed. And with my Taurus ascendant, as I said last week, letting go of things is fuck out of here. Excuse me. um, it's hard for me to let go. I have a Taurus ascendant, and we can be stubborn and not easily moved out of our comfort zone. And then just out of the blue, I'm being served an eviction notice, but it's like you have 5 seconds to get all of your shit that you've been carrying up until now and get out, because it's time for you to go somewhere else and do something new. And so, because I didn't easily surrender to Pluto in my 10th house and what it was trying to do, Pluto will win. So this is a little warning or a message to you. If you have an upcoming Pluto transit in any house, Pluto will win. So figure out what house it's getting ready to move into, what sign it's getting ready to move into, and then figure out how that fits into your day-to-day life, and then go ahead and either be prepared for some changes to come or give up some shit now. And if you need help with that, contact me. The information is always in my description box. I will help you figure out your Pluto transits and what it's going to mean and how you can better work with it, because there's no working against a Pluto transit, especially in an important house, like your 10th house, your 4th house, your 8th house, your 1st house, your 12th house. So get ready. And it didn't come easily with mine. I wasn't prepared for it. And not only that, but I had a Uranus conjunction in my 1st house. So, I dyed my hair gray when Uranus moved into my 1st house, the house of self and your body and your skin and your, outer physical being. I dyed my hair gray. It's something that I always wanted to do since I was a little girl. When I would envision myself as an adult, I had gray hair very early. And gray hair isn't a strong gene in my family, so I probably won't have gray hair. But I dyed my hair gray. When Uranus moved into my 1st house, I've been having very, very, very transformative changes. And so I think, in a sense, that it's easy for me to have a little bit of doubt. And I should have more compassion on myself, because, yes, I've been through a lot transformative wise. But I'm still so critical on myself that I don't give myself the compassion that I deserve. And I just realized that at this moment. So, like I said, I was watching my videos last night, and I was just thinking, this is so crazy. What am I doing? I should have just kept my readings and stuff low key. Because I don't feel like I'm really helping anybody, and I've had to sacrifice relationships with my family when I came out and start, sharing these videos publicly, and deciding not to try to tiptoe it around my family anymore now that, I live around them. And I hadn't previously, so I didn't really have to hide anything. However, I knew my family doesn't accept this, readings and things like that, especially my mother. And that's the closest relationship I have. And I knew, it's just like all the things that I've gone through in order to do these videos, in order just to not just do these videos, but to not hide the fact that I use my spiritual abilities that my entire family, most of my family have. I use them differently than they do. They use theirs in the church. I use mine for everybody that outgrew the church, evolved from the church. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with either or, but I knew that they would. And I was never ready I probably would never have been ready to assert myself in this way to my mother, actually. Hold on, y'all. I heard a noise, and I don't know what it was. All right, y'all. Act up. We can get snatched up around here. Okay. So, anyways, um, I probably should have did this video in the house. I don't know why I came outside, but it's the new moon, so I figured as I'm letting it go here, I can let it go to the moon. Um, so yeah, I never would have been ready to tell my mom, look, I do this, this, and this, and I know back in the day y'all didn't like for me to do X, Y, and Z, but as an adult, here I am, and this is what I do. Because I knew it would have came with a sacrifice, and it did. But I'm still here doing these readings, not just for you guys, but for others. The cold case readings that I do, those come at a sacrifice. Nobody else is doing these type of readings, and at least to my knowledge, I don't really keep up with other people, even though I have been exposed to more YouTube readers since I guess became one. And I see, the type of readings they do, and the type of readings that people like to see. And I don't do those. I don't do a bunch of love readings or zodiac readings, and I don't do the celebrity readings. And those are the things that people, gravitate towards. But I knew that when I started this. I just started this channel as an outlet for me to use my gifts for a bigger audience than the one that I had. I had a small handful of clients that I regularly read for, and that was it. But then I guess when Pluto moved into my 10th house, it was just like, okay, it's time for you to serve at a higher level now, a bigger audience. And the only way I could really think to do that was just, okay, well, since I have this really great relationship with spirits on the other side, and I can hear them very well, let me help some of the spirits that I felt like were always asking me for help that I always ignored. Some memories of people you carry with you and they weigh on you for such a long time. It's that person's energy impressing on yours. And these are people that I never met. So that's how I decided to start doing those readings, because if I feel like I'm carrying around somebody's energy and I've never met this person, but I know that they passed away and their case is unsolved, that's how I come up with the readings that I'm going to do. However, even that comes at a sacrifice, because I don't, I get a lot of ridicule sometimes for the things that I say and the things that I see, more so than I get applause or anything like that. And that's not 100% the issue, but I was saying that even these come with a sacrifice, because I don't gain a lot of popularity from these videos or these readings that I do. However, I still do them, and I try to do them consistently and faithfully, because I'm trying to be of service to my purpose. And I believe my purpose to be a very spiritual one. And that's all I've been really trying to do. When I started this YouTube channel, it was just me trying to serve my purpose. Nothing more, nothing less. And if people benefited from it, then, when I passed away, I would do so in peace because I know that I helped serve someone, um, or that I helped heal someone. So yesterday was just a day of me thinking about everything that I've had to sacrifice and all of the obstacles that I had to endure just to, first of all, even realize what my purpose in life was. You know, losing my career that I had in 2016 when my Saturn return started, the relationship with my father taking a turn for the left, my marriage taking a turn for the left, and then subsequently ending, um, and a slew of other, personal relationships with friends and family and goals and things that I thought I wanted or things that I thought I was supposed to be working towards. Like, it's just been so much loss and gain, um, that sometimes I think, okay, well, am I on the right path now? Because I thought I was before, but now that I think about it, even those were prior to a lot of my more transformational transits. So even those were probably ego based. I was still probably in a place of shooting for something that was only conducive to myself. No, now that I think about it, which is why none of those situations seem to work out. However, now that Pluto is in my 10th house and has been in my 10th house, um, and I have been stripped of so much on the outer realm and in the inner realm. I think the point of that was just so that I would take a leap of faith, actually let go of control, because Mars and Virgo is very controlling. And Pluto don't care what you think you control. It don't care if your Mars is in Virgo in the 29th degree. It's going to come in just like you're nothing. So even the things that I held on so hard, such perceived control over, even Pluto came and just ripped it out of my hands, even if my fingers were still attached. Um, and I think the point of that was to push me into not just my 10th house, but my 12th house of my North Node, which is just letting go and having faith. And so last night, I wasn't thinking this clearly last night. I was like, I'm about to delete my whole YouTube. And I actually started by deleting one of the videos. It was actually a reading that I did the other night. And it was probably one of the most intense readings I ever did because of how intense the energy was, and then the things that I was saying in the reading. I was like, what? I started thinking very, very sixth house and Virgo-ish, very practical, like, okay, this is never going to work. And then I was just like, I'm going to delete the whole thing. So I started with that video and then I deleted it. But then right when I got ready to delete the next video, which would have been my dear subscribers that I did last Sunday, which was the reading to my subscribers. It was about the new moon and things that we needed to let go. And I specifically called out someone or people who have spiritual gifts and abilities but are afraid to use them. And I literally said, you guys, I'm talking about myself. And I was talking about letting go of doubts. The doubt that you have in trusting your intuition and your own higher wisdom, and the doubt that you have in trusting your gifts and abilities, no matter what they are. Let go of doubting yourself. I literally gave this message to you guys last Sunday and then claimed it for myself. And then last night, here I am getting ready to delete videos or starting to delete videos off of my YouTube. And then I got to that one. So I can't delete this shit. I can't delete this shit because I'm sitting here doubting myself when this video is about letting go of doubts on the new moon. that I recorded last week. And God knows I must have recorded it last week because I was going to need it this weekend. Because as I said, I was rewatching all of my videos and then doubting the fuck out of myself and getting ready to, y'all weren't going to see me anymore. And then, I was like, I can't delete this because look what I just said in this video. And then a few people reached out to me after that video and was like, this was for me. And so I started thinking about you guys, my subscribers, and the people who interact with me. And I was just like, what about them? I can't, like, so, no matter how much I doubt what the fuck I say, if they feel like what I said or what I shared was of benefit to them, then who cares what the fuck I think? Because you guys like it. And then the message that I was getting, the message last week was supposed to be for you guys. So I was just like, I can't. Let me just chill, meditate on this, and then see what I come up with in the morning. Because I could be tripping. I called myself out. I could be tripping. And then when I did my daily message for myself with my oracles, it was about giving rather than taking, which is the same oracle card that I pulled last week during this same message I'm talking about, where I was saying that at the times where I'm doubting myself, I'll come and do a video or a reading for somebody, or I'll offer some kind of service, and I'll give of myself so that I don't sit here and then focus too much on being critical of myself. I'll distract myself by doing something for someone else. That was my message today, just like it was in that video that I couldn't delete last week. And so I was like, wow, okay. And then I can't remember what the other ones was. Communication is key. That was one of them. This, what I'm doing is communicating and expressing. Luck is on your side, and I can't remember the fourth one. So I was like, okay, I'll reconsider shutting down the page. And then I'll try to really, really, really get to a place where I can let go of my self-doubt and being overly critical of myself. Because I like to brag on being very self-aware and willing to take accountability at all times. However, for me, it becomes obsessive because it goes beyond accountability and being self-aware into self-critical, self-doubt. And not just do I not want to fail anyone who is meant to receive something from me in this lifetime, I don't want to fail my purpose in life. I don't want to fail my higher self. I don't want to fail my family and my ancestors, especially them, because I feel like I work more closely with them. The divine feminine, the divine mother, I don't want to fail her. I don't want to fail myself, my family, or the spirits that I work with, the spirits that work with me, and the ones that depend on me. They depend on me to use my ability to hear them and feel them and sense them and smell them and things like that in order to say things that they can't say right now, or that can't be heard with people's two ears right now, or if they're not alive and they need justice, somebody who not only can hear them and sense them, but somebody who isn't afraid to try to get justice for them. Like, it's not a lot of people who do that. And, you know, I can't give up on them either, because one day I'll be on their side with them. And what we not gonna do is be behind the veil duking it out, because I had all the tools necessary and I could have helped them and I didn't. I don't want to get over there and meet somebody who's like, my case was supposed to be solved because you were supposed to do my reading, and such was supposed to hear that, watch that video, and then show it to this person who was going to take it to this detective who just so happened to be waiting on this little clue. And they didn't believe it at first, but they checked it out. And then now, that was supposed to happen for my murder to be solved. And you could hear me. And you knew what you were supposed to do, but you didn't do it. And now I have to wait another 20 to 30 years for the next person to come along who can do the same. Like, I don't want that. So that is how I decided today to come and do this video about my story, about what I am letting go of. And I'm going to say that I'm letting go of it tonight in this new moon because I want to mean it. I've been trying for a long time to stop doubting myself so much. And lately, I can't even say for the past week, but the past few months, it has been on 10 just because of a situation that I've been placed in where I had nothing else of my own devices to go on. So I really had no choice but to hope that all of the faith that I believe I had and that I do have is not in vain. And this week, a lot of my circumstances changed. My material circumstances changed. A lot of my mentalities have changed. So I believe that all of that was bringing me to this new moon in Cancer in my 10th house, which is why I circle back to saying I don't usually draw down on the energy of the moons. So many other people need to use the moon's energy, and unless I feel pulled to do it, then I'll let y'all have it. I won't be greedy. But this one has been pulling me, even to the point where I didn't even realize that it was this new moon in my 10th house in Cancer. That's been doing the pulling. All the few months that I've been having, and the climax being last night where I started to delete videos off of this page so that I could delete the whole page. All of this self-doubt has been at the forefront of my mind, and I've been struggling with it. Like, how the fuck am I going to, like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? Just let it go. Just decide that you're going to let it go and stick to it. Because you doubt yourself so much that you don't stick to things. Even saying that you're not going to doubt yourself, can you stick to not doubting yourself and not give up on it? So this is me holding myself accountable as well. By sharing this with you guys, y'all can periodically keep me in check. Don't be afraid to call me out if it seems like I've been ghost, or my energy is low or anything like that. Like, let me know, because I believe in constructive criticism, and you guys can make sure, since you've seen this video, that I don't go into doubting myself. And I'm not asking y'all to do this, but I'm just saying, if y'all see something, don't be afraid to call it out, because I'm not that kind of girl. to where I won't be like, to where I'd be like, what? I would delete and block you unless you're just being nasty, because then we can box. No, but seriously, in order for me to do what I'm supposed to do in my 10th house in this lifetime, I have to let go of my self-doubt that makes me talk myself out of it. And I have to not doubt what the fuck I'm doing. Because if I'm doing it after all of these transits, the Saturn return and Pluto and the Uranus conjunction to my first house, if this is what I'm doing after all of that, and if this is what I began to start thinking about doing at the beginning, because I started actually doing readings in 2016, but back then I was even hiding it from my husband, and we lived in the same house, but you know, he spent all day and most of the night working 2 jobs, so I would be home by myself for a lot, and he didn't even know. Sometimes I tell him, oh, a person paid me to interpret a dream for them. But I wasn't telling him that I was reading bitches and looking up natal charts and things like that, because even he would have thought that I was evil and called me a witch and all of that stuff. And nobody wants to experience that kind of judgment from the people in their family. Cancer, because Cancer rules your 4th house, your family. So for me trying to hide my 10th house purpose from my family is actually what has been the source of my doubt. And not just trying to hide it, but why I was trying to hide it, because I knew that I wouldn't be accepted. I knew that I'd be looked at as something bad, because that's how it was when I was little. And I displayed gifts and abilities and things like that. And a few of my elders who caught on to it, let me know off rip how evil it was and how I needed to repent. And I got stuck repenting every day, every single night. When I said my prayers that night, I would repent, for the next something teen years. So that is where the seat of my self-doubt comes in from, my family, really, because I'm the first one to strike out in this type of spirituality in a few generations, maybe 3 to 5 generations. And so it's new right now. And I know a lot of people are thinking, because I just came out to them, it's just like, what the fuck is she going through? Uranus in the first house is probably what other people are thinking. However, the only thing I did was come out of hiding with with what was being shown to me to be my purpose. And you know what? When I was a little girl, I knew it. I always knew it. You don't want to know it. When you have a purpose like this, or when you have a job or a service to give, such as any kind of spiritual service in this society, even though it's picking up popularity, for a lot of people, it's still a trend. For me, it is a burden that I've carried all my life, because when I was a child, I loved every minute of what I could do and what I was inclined to, until I found out that it made me evil. And then after that, it became a burden, trying to hide and fit in and, not express things that I was feeling spiritually, not sharing experiences that I was having, because I didn't want anybody to think that, I was this evil witch. And some of them felt that way once they started watching these videos I was doing. But that like Cancer rules your 4th house, and this new moon in Cancer is in my 10th house. So if I want to do what I'm supposed to do, and I know this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and not just these videos. I mean, there's a bigger picture to it, but I know that this work that I do is what I'm supposed to be doing. Um, then what I need to let go is everything that keeps me from doing it. Because I got Pluto in my 10th house too. And Saturn is getting ready to Tootsie roll right back into my 10th house. So everything that I've been going through since 2016 has been putting me in alignment with where I am now. And this new moon in Cancer is saying, okay, now everything else, all the residual, all the residue that's left over from all of these transformations, go ahead and sweep it on out so that you can really focus on what you're supposed to be doing. And for me, a lot of that deals with my fourth house, which Cancer traditionally rules. How does your fourth house apply to where this new moon is affecting you? Like I said, if you're a Libra sun, moon, and rising, then it's affecting your 10th house. If you're a Virgo, it's affecting your 11th house. If you're a Leo, it's affecting your 12th house. If you're a Cancer, it's affecting your first house. If you're Gemini, it's affecting your second house, and so forth and so on. How is this? How does your roots? Your how does your family? How does your family environment? How does your early life's environment? How do your parents affect where this full moon is taking place in your chart? I like to know. I like for it to be a discussion. Um, because I want to make sure that everybody is taking this opportunity to start something new, let go of something so that they can start something new. And what can you heal? Cancer and the moon is all about healing. So what house is this new moon in for you, and what aspect of your life dealing with that house can you heal? I'm interested to know because I just shared with you guys my whole story, the good and the bad. I had to give you guys the blood raw about myself, so that you know that these videos that I do come from experience. If I ever give advice, know that it came from advice that I had to take. And if I haven't taken it yet, then I'll tell you that I'm still working on it myself. However, I need you guys to know that even people who can read cards and divine the future and speak with spirits, that don't mean we got all the answers. Especially if you're like me and you deal with self-doubt. That's going to block you from getting the answers that you need, because my answers in life come from my intuition and come from me being able to pick up on different energies that are difficult to pick up with your physical senses. And so if I ain't listening to my intuition, then I'm going to doubt everything, because that is where the seed of my wisdom comes from. So tonight, while I'm out here and I'm sharing with you guys that I'm letting go of self-doubt and being so critical of myself. I love that I can take criticism, but I hate that I abuse myself with it. So tonight I'm going to let that go so that it doesn't impede with the business that I'm meant to take care of in this lifetime and the work that I'm meant to do. as far as my 10th house. And I'm going to heal from whatever took place in my childhood that causes me to continue to resort to self doubt and self criticism. And just know that this is my fucking purpose. This is my responsibility. And I have to answer for what I was placed here to do. At the end of the day and at the end of the night, and none of my relatives whose approval or validation that I was seeking, none of them are going to be able to attest for what I signed up to do when I came here and why I didn't do it when I had every reason to do it and every necessary tool to get it done. So that and them are no longer an excuse for why I want to allow myself to be great and have peace about what I do and not continue to go back and forth about it and drive myself insane. I am going to allow myself from now on to have peace about the work that I do and the work that I'm supposed to do because I know what I'm supposed to do. And I release all self doubt. I release the anxiety and I release the control that feeds the anxiety or the perception of control because Pluto showed me that I don't run shit. So that perception of control is what drives my anxiety. And I release it because I know I don't run shit like I thought I did, at least not until Pluto comes around. And God forbid it has Saturn and Uranus with it. So I forgive myself as well for the mistakes that I made along the way and just in me trying to figure out what my purpose is. The mistakes that I made was trying to control situations and not trusting in my faith and in God's plan for me. And in knowing that God loves me and that I love me, I just need to act like it. And with love comes trust. And so I have to trust myself, trust the decisions that I'm making, and trust that even if I feel like I don't have everything in place, it's okay to still give of yourself. And with that being said, I am going to shut it down for the night. I actually didn't get bit by any mosquitoes. So shout out to the mosquitoes who, respected my gangster for the night. I see that y'all learning to let go of some of your control too. And to you guys, I wish you guys a great full moon. I hope that you guys are healing and releasing and starting new things. And cheers. Night night.